was Alkebulan, the mother of mankind, cradle of civilization, the heartbeat of creation itself. Now her children return, calling her name again. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of life, where the sun first shines, where the sun first shines. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan. Hey! Alkebulan, Alkebulan, Alkebulan. Home. Your children are calling, we're coming home. Oh, Alkebulan, the world must know you gave birth to the light, let your glory show. They changed your name to hide your fame. They broke the chains but kept the game. Divided your children with borders and lies, but truth never dies, it only multiplies. We are the sons and daughters of your soil, still rising strong from the years of toil. They took our name, but not our soul. Alkebulan still makes the broken whole. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of life, where the sun first shines, where the sun first shines. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan. Oh, Alkebulan, cradle divine, mother of kings, the first bloodline. Oh, Alkebulan, spirit of grace, we're reclaiming your name, we're finding our place. No longer shall we live in shame, forgetting our truth, our holy name. From the Nile to the ocean wide, your story flows, it cannot hide. From Kush to Kemet, glory untold, black and beautiful, strong and bold. They took our gold, they took our flame, but Alkebulan lives beyond the pain. They called you Africa, but you were more. You are the doorway the world was born through. The spirit of time, the rhythm of life. Alkebulan, our home, our right. Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of man. Oh, Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of man. Say Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of life. We are your children, forever united. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan.
Greetings, greetings, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Give me a second, just bring in Babajide up as well. We can't see you, Babajide. You want to show your camera?
Give him a few minutes.
Okay. All right. Okay, greetings, everybody. My name, as always, is Oladile Dosumu. I'm the founder of the Emerging Alkebulan. And this session, basically, I'll let everybody introduce it and we'll talk about the session. But yeah, you know who I am. So welcome for everybody's watching. Nduku.
Asanteni. Karibuni, welcome. Again, the name is Nduku. I'm the host on Kumbukeni, collaborating with my brother to tell our stories from our own perspectives. One of us has been hit. We are Pan-Africans. We are responding to that. Adesoji.
Thank you, Adesoji.
Oh, yes. Adesoji from Adesoji Speaks Knowledge. And I've been invited to come in and offer my perspective as to regards what's happening in Nigeria.
Thank you, Adejoji. Okay, guys. As you can see on the topic there, yeah, it happened last night. I personally have been expecting this if you follow the news. You know, once they start putting all those feeds out there, and they start saying things, you know what's going to happen next. The hegemonic powers are so predictable. The sad thing about this, as we Africans are so gullible and stupid that we think that the white man is ever going to save Africans. And I've been going through social media today, and I can see, I'm going to say the word stupid Nigerians welcoming Trump to be their savior. I've seen a lot of it today. Thank you, Trump. My wife was actually going through feeds today, and you could see that Nigerians were just stupidly saying, thank you, Trump. Most of us don't know what's about to hit Nigeria. This is just infiltration by them coming in. Okay, the topic, as you can see there, the US strikes Nigeria. What's the impact, the consequences for Nigerian Nigerians? Who wants to go first? So you want to go first, or Nduku?
Before Adesoji goes, because you asked that question, I'm going to say, this is not even a dangerous precedent for just Nigeria. This is a dangerous precedent for all 54 nations of Africa. This is again, and this is the concern I always raise when it comes to military presence on the continent. That completely takes away our sovereignty. For us, so in Nigeria's actions, right, because the government is showing that apparently they gave consent for this, they have jeopardized the safety of all other 53 nations of Ubuntu because of their, my goodness, I'm going to try very much to stay away from these words, but because of their complacency with imperialism, because of their centering action on self-interest, because again, that's another thing that plays. This is going to affect us. I was thinking to myself earlier on, I'm like, wait a minute. If they set this precedent, apparently, that Africans cannot do anything against Christianity, right? We are here trying to restore African spirituality. Part of that will be condemning Christianity. So they're going to come for us now that we've set this precedent for those of us who want African spirituality, when we say Christianity doesn't work for us. And then my question is, why the United States? Why not the Pope? The Pope should be the one leading this if it is an attack on Christianity. The Pope has said nothing, right? The other leaders of Christianity have said nothing. Who made the United States the head of the Christian church? Why is it them? And this is where we expose the lie that this is all about imperialism and not Christianity. So Adesoji, go.
Okay. When the strike happened yesterday and I got the notification, my immediate thoughts were to a meeting that happened 2 months ago, where the National Security Advisor of Nigeria was summoned to Washington, D.C., and he went in there and he was basically given an ultimatum that, sort this out in 2 months. And in 2 months, if you don't, then obviously we're going to take matters into our hands. The 2 months lapsed a week before last. So there and then, if you notice, there was this sort of mutterings about military strike in Venezuela and stuff like that. People who are not conversant with how these guys move will then suggest maybe things were out of the games, And so the coup in Benin happened. When the coup in Benin happened, and the French Special Forces got in, but you never saw the French Special Forces. But what you did see was
Nigeria.
You saw Nigeria, you saw Cote d'Ivoire, you saw Ghana. But prior to, in the midst of all of that, anybody remember the Nigerian civilian that landed in Burkina Faso?
Yep.
So that was essentially an idea to say, well, we are helping our so-called...
we're helping our enemies, man.
Yes, so we are helping our international friends to have a beachhead. So containing the, containing the coup in Benin was one. You never wanted a complete lockdown of what that neck of the woods were with regards to Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, and Niger, and now Benin. So you had to ensure that that did not happen. That was one. Now, the case of what's happening in Nigeria is, let's face it, is basically a distraction. And the reason why I say it's a distraction is you have to understand that the theater of activity with regards to
Before
Boko
they
Haram,
called her Africa,
You're good at this, so you go on.
she was Al-Qaeda,
before you
Hold
the
on.
mother
Hold
of
on.
mankind,
Hold on.
cradle
Hold on,
of
Adesoji.
civilization.
All right. Go on, Adesoji.
Okay, so you have to understand that the theater of activity with regards to Boko Haram had never been in the northwest of Nigeria, has been in the northeast of Nigeria. So question then lies, what is this supposed to do? Was this supposed to create some sort of distraction? Or was it an idea to explain to our people that, listen, we can come to you wherever it is we want to get you? So sovereignty and all the other, buzzwords will be thrown. But the key thing is, this strike plays multiple of roles. One is distraction from what is going on in the internal United States, a la the Epstein files. And it's also a distraction from what is transpiring in the East Caribbean Sea with regards to Venezuela. Nigeria is just a comfortable ploy to, we're going out to fight for the Christians. And well, it might actually be a footnote with regards to what happened in what they talked about in Project 2025, where they said the Christian faith was the way we would see the world, anything that we see. And I'm sure your audience does not need me to tell them that in itself is a ruse, because the entire idea of you being the Christian soldiers falls on his face, because
Epstein files.
he won't even pass the first purity test when it comes to, so, I mean, truth be told.
It's like the devil coming to quote the Bible to you. Tell you you've not been going to church on Sunday. Yeah.
Can you imagine? So, I mean, it's laughable, but it's the kind of world we live in now where the United States foreign policy is determined by what is written on Truth Social, as opposed to what the U.S. State Department considers to be the United States foreign policy. Hey, those are the kind of times we live in, and I suppose, in a way, our leaders too have to play along. And this is where the concept of having the right leaders in place means if you do not have the right people leading your affairs of state, you're going to be compromised any which way. So that's just my initial take.
Yeah, I'm going to back that up. And what I'm going to say is we've been following this for a while now, probably for the last 6 months, and we knew this was coming. For those of us who follow the playbook, know how they operate, because a lot of people don't know how these people think. The popular narrative is Christian genocide, but I'm Nigerian, she's Nigerian, and we know that what's going on in Nigeria is not about Christian genocide. Basically, a lot of Nigerians are being killed, irrespective of their religion.
Yeah,
there's actually been more Muslims killed than Christians.
Yeah, right.
More, even 2 days ago, some Muslims were bombed, but that was not on the news.
Nope.
So what's going on in Nigeria is not about Christians genocide or Muslims. It's basically about the insecurity that's happening in Nigeria, which our government is not doing nothing about.
Yeah,
that's the complicity of the government. Correct. This has nothing to do with any external forces coming in to do. It's what we should be doing for ourselves.
But can they do something about it? If they've been co-opted and they're serving the imperialists, and the imperialists is the one paying and supplying the weapons to cause disruption in Nigeria, can the government do something about it?
No, I mean, when you say co-opted, I won't say co-opted because they signed up a subscription package. They've been co-opted as a result of their lifestyles. Yeah. Most of them have foreign bank accounts.
Yeah.
So you don't need me to write you a playbook on how someone can immediately become compromised when I say, well, I know you have 5 million in that bank account. It would be a shame if anything were to happen to it. If you had your money in an African society or African bank or within your country running the economy back and forth, you're not subject to such leaning, which is why anytime anybody is invited into government, the first thing they do is background checks to check what level of exposure you have. It could be compromising, it could be compromising matter, it could be money, it could be property, it could be
criminal.
Yeah. So as a result, this is what we're having to play with. Most of these guys on the top echelons of power have financial interest in the West. You know, it wasn't only recently that the Senate President Fabio came to London and collapsed. Why would he be coming to London? Because he has means and, you know, money to play with here. And so it would be a shame if somebody were to go to Fabio on his sickbed and say, well, we can throw you out and you lose all your access to money, but we need you to do this.
That's the complicity that we're talking about. And obviously, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can never hurt us. And this is basically how we got here. Because most African politicians, we are complicit and we're compromised. This is why these hegemonic powers use the leverage to actually get you to do what they want you to do.
Yep.
That's basically why. If you look at Thomas Sankara, he said no, they killed him. We're talking about Kwame Nkrumah. He said no, they overthrew him. Gaddafi, you know what happened to him. Patrice Lumumba. So we have leaders, even right now, we know the threat that Abraham Traore is under right now. And the Sahel region, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali. This what they're doing there, obviously, like Soji said, don't forget that the coup happened in Benin. That little axis there would have given them access to the ocean. They had to prevent that from happening. That was deliberate. And don't forget, Nigeria is just above Niger. So that gives them access to this country. So what's being played there is a strategic way so that the hegemons could have foothold in order to get to do whatever they want to do.
Correct.
And sadly, Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is complicit to basically giving the hegemonic powers access to his fellow African countries. Instead of us being friends of each other as Africans, Ubuntu, we are being friends with the enemies. And that's one of the biggest challenges facing Africa today. We'd rather side with a white man than side with our own brothers.
I'm glad you said that because today is the first day of Kwanzaa Umoja. I'm glad you said that. And as we have this conversation, let's center our thoughts on that today is our grounding is our unity. And because of that lack of that, this is happening. I was going to share the map just to show everyone. I don't know if I can share my screen, Oladele, just quickly to give everyone an idea as we continue the conversation. Yeah, I think I have it. No, actually. There we go. As we continue the conversation, is that showing?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So is there anything on top of it, or you can see the whole map?
I can see the whole map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Nigeria where it is, and look at Benin where they are, and how strategic they are to Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Mali. And if we think this could have nothing to do with the Sahel alliance, then we need to start stopping. We need to think better. And I'd like us to have that conversation as well as we talk about Faso and Traore. Let's talk about how does this compromise the Sahel alliance, and is that the long goal? And Venezuela is just that. Venezuela might be the footnote, and the Epstein files might be the footnote, and the long-term goal is to stop Africa from liberating itself because when we read, let me stop sharing. When I think we had when we had the conversation with John Perkins, when we read his book.
You're a bit muffled, Undergo. You're a bit muffled.
Can you hear me?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
Hear you now.
All right. He said that when he walked into that room with his boss, who had asked him to step away from the meeting they were having regarding getting into Africa, his boss said Africa is very important to us right now. He named a few countries that were ideal. Nigeria was one of them. as far as taking influence so that they could have access to all of Africa. He said, if you want our children to have a future, we must take control of Africa. This is how they think. Without control of Africa, they will lose power, they will lose their economic power, they will lose their political power. So sometimes also we have to change for a long time we've been seeing ourselves, our inferiority shows in different ways, right? We think we are the distraction, but we are the game. We are the main game. It is us they're going for, right? It is access to Africa that they're going for. There is something great happening, because think about it. Christians have been persecuted in Mozambique under the same thing, in Somalia under the same thing. Why are they not going there? Why is this not that? Actually, more in Mozambique, they've been kidnappings and all that, when you think about it, when it comes to terrorism, right? Why is it not focusing on that area, right? So the question is this, are they coming for the Sahel Alliance? And if they are, what are we as Africans supposed to do? Because we can't just keep quiet and stay silent while this is going on and just watch the destruction of our possible liberation. So I'm glad to see our brother join us. So
yeah, Bajide, your perspective, please.
You're muted.
We can't hear you. No, we can't.
I think his microphone is muted.
We can't hear you. Okay, I'll send him a message. Okay, while he's sorting that out, guys. Okay, so the question, as we said, the impact and the consequences for Nigerians. What is the impact? Because a lot of Nigerians, like I said, a lot of Nigerians are welcoming this. What's going on here? So because a lot of them don't know, because we see politics from sometimes we look at politics from internal African perspective, but not seeing the global play and the playbook that's being played globally. And when you're looking at it, okay, local politics, we know what the difference. And this is one thing I've got to say. Our differences in Africa is played in divisions. And the divisions we play into was not created by us.
Yeah.
It was what was fed to us.
Yeah.
Christians against Christians, Muslims against Muslims, you name it. Party politics, ethnicity. This is not African. This is basically the divisions that the Ubuntu, the hegemonic powers have given us to get us distracted, is the word.
Yeah.
So once you are distracted fighting against each other, they are able to basically infiltrate you. And then you have people, they co-opt you people to be on one side or the other.
I mean, to buttress your point with regards to the notion of staged, what's it called? Stage disunity. Most of those African countries, especially the ones that have close proximity to each other, they're basically lines, not rivers or anything. Even in the case of rivers, have people who speak virtually the same language on either side of the river. The Maasai have a branch in Kenya. They also have a branch in Tanzania.
There's Maasai in Tanzania.
So the Yorubas have a branch in Nigeria. They also have a branch in Benin Republic. The Hutus have a branch in Rwanda. They also have a branch in Burundi.
And Uganda.
The Tutsis also have, so what is worse with regards to the Rwanda-Burundi example is that you've taken a large majority, 80% of one group, you've put them with 10% of another. And then you've reversed the same thing. You've taken another 80% and you've taken 10% of the other. So you've created a continuous idea of how you're going to ensure that whenever you need to come in, you're going to come in and just wreak havoc. Because what are they going to be? Are you going to use? You're going to use the passports. So if you use the passport, if the passport doesn't work, you would say, by the way, it is the Hutsi or the Yorubas in Benin Republic who are destabilizing Nigeria. So the Yoruba Nigerians will say, oh, no, they're not the ones. Whoever wants to play, you can play you against each other. The same thing can be said about Togo. You have the Iwe in Togo. You also have the Iwe in Ghana. So all of this is the machinations that at the time they were drawing the maps, they probably didn't think that was such a big deal. But fast forward independence, okay, they had their conference May 25, 1963, OAU in Addis Ababa. One of the key things there was, listen, we have to throw these people out regardless. I'm afraid to say Nigeria was one of the ones that said, no, let's do it gradually. Ghana, led by, who was part of the Casablanca group, said, listen, we have to cut ties completely. But, Nigeria being in the Moravia group said, nah, maybe we should do it.
Thank you, Sanjay, for that.
We should do it subsequently. And here we are. Fast forward just 5 years from that, just 5 years from that conference in 1967. Most of the guys who were in the Casablanca group, with the exception of with the exception of King Hassan of Morocco, all of them were basically just taken out. All of them. So you then had the Nigerian group, the much more compliant Moravia group, who basically ran, with the exception of Nigeria, with the destabilization of the war in 67, the coups, 66, 66, then you had another one in 1976. I mean, the litany of coups that Nigeria has had since then would suggest the Casablanca group knew that this sort of thing would happen, because if power does not reside with the people, or instead resides with the chosen elites, will continue to have theirs back and back again. Because there is no way you would have a credible government in place that would then invite a foreign power, no matter how powerful, to come in and strike anyone in your neck of the woods. Why? Is the question.
Okay. Bajide, can you say something? We can't hear you.
You want to make sure your audio is active. Nope, we can't hear you. Oh my God.
I think he's going to have to allow his computer to use your stream as his microphone and camera. I think he's allowed the camera, but he's not allowed the microphone.
Yeah, for some reason we can't get you.
When you come in, I think it asks you. Or just check under your microphone whether you've allowed it. Let me see how it looks like.
If you click on the microphone, it will tell you whether you're in or not.
Okay. While we're doing that, there's a chat. There's a message in the chat here. Lisa saying, "I don't believe Trump has bombed any African country." Lisa Murray, I'll have to tell you, it happened last night. Please go search. Yeah, it happened.
Besides, Trump has actually bombed places.
He actually bombed it. If not, we won't be talking about it.
Yeah, it's bombed Somalia a couple of times as well.
There's several, so that we can, you can, I mean, and this is the other thing, right? When you hear something has happened, you Google it, and it's multiple sources confirming that this happened. It happened. And then there's the thing of, we have people on the ground. What are they saying? Right? What are the people on the ground saying? Has there been bombing in Nigeria? So you, as someone who's in the diaspora, when you hear all those confirming that this happened, who are you to say that it didn't happen? Like, what type of logic are you using?
No, and you also have to understand that Nigeria is not just a tiny country. Nigeria is a very...
No, it's not. It's very significant as far as Africa's economic and political sovereignty.
Nigeria is huge, so...
and strategic, Ajisoji.
Yeah, no, I'm not doubting its strategic nature. I'm also saying it will almost, I mean, obviously pictures and video will come out subsequently, but then immediately, no, not in Nigeria.
Okay. I think Wajide is still struggling. I'll send him a message now.
If it goes on his settings, my audio you should choose restream. If he says settings.
We can hear you. We can hear you, bro.
Yeah. Do you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you hear us. What
Can you
happened
hear
to
us?
the-
No. Okay, let's carry on with it.
So I was going to talk about Oladile. I was going to go to the precedent, right? That is, this is going to
brilliant.
set.
That's what I'm going to. Yeah, good idea.
Right? As far as them using Christianity as the thing that justifies an attack on Africa. Like, let's talk about that. Let's seriously talk about that, because this is, again, the West, what's the word? Forcing us, I'm going to use forcing us for lack of a better word, forcing us to take their own cultural ideologies when they're not ours, right? So what danger, and Adesoji, if you can speak to this, what danger is this that we allow Nigeria, I'm going to be specific, that Nigeria, even after the AU said this is not the case, this is not an attack on Christianity, and the Nigerian government said this is not an attack on man, this is actually, it pisses me off, because this shows how cowardly these people are. That they were called in, you said the man traveled, Adesoji, you said he traveled to the US, the head of national security, traveled to the US in 2 months ago.
Yep.
And he must have been given the whip, right? And told, we are attacking, whether you like it or not, make sure this aligns. And this is what you're all going to say once the attack comes, right?
Oh, well, okay. So, yeah, there's...
But as you speak to that too, speak to the fact that there probably were Christians in that area who were bombed as well. And the people who were probably celebrating Christmas while this bombing was happening in their name, but it also affects them. Like, what risk does this place for the rest of the continent? If we allow this one country to say, because of Christianity, the United States can come and bomb some part of our nation.
Okay, so the immediate impact, obviously, is the fact that in the eyes of the African countries, Nigeria is no longer an exception to the idea of someone coming in and intervening. The consequences would be this civilian administration has allowed something that even the guys in the military would not have allowed. It speaks to the rot within the political system that is Nigeria. So now, coming to the spiritual aspect of it, Nigeria, it goes without saying, is a multitude of voices when it comes to religious propagation. You've got traditionalists, you've got Christians, you've got Muslims, and you've got in-betweens. You've got people who, depending on time of year, will decide this is what they are, regardless of what. It's only since, it's only in 2003, 2004, that we've had this drum roll of Boko Haram, Boko Haram, Boko Haram, Boko Haram. And the thing then manifested itself into a proper cancerous growth on the political polity that is Nigeria. To bring matters to home, it's sad that for the United States to come into, because let's face it, they didn't fly planes in. They basically came into the Gulf of Guinea. That ship came into the Gulf of Guinea to fire off that shot. So literally what you're saying is you open the door, because the Gulf of Guinea is Nigeria, is like the map you showed earlier. It's Nigeria, Benin Republic, Ghana, Togo.
The whole area.
It's literally there. Sao Tome, Principe, Gabon, Cameroon.
And by the way, if they turn their cannons,
regardless of where they turn the cannons to, let's sit with the idea that they came into basically your backyard and pointed the gun at you. And you said, yes, do this.
Yeah.
That was how sad it was. It's one thing for the US to have bases in Ghana. It's another thing for, Nkrumah will be turning in his grave.
Oh, yes.
So the notion that can even happen in itself is wild beyond beyond, imagine. It's wild beyond even what we're even talking about right now.
But
Because
here's the other. Here's the other argument. If the AU is actually the African Union, right, and is supposed to defend African sovereignty, shouldn't it be holding Nigeria accountable in this moment and sanctioning them or something?
well, the AU, or the OAU as it was formerly known, is a moribund organization. It's not of no consequences, of no use in this conversation. I'm sorry. It's a redundant organization. I mean, it does have its clauses, but in terms of what it was originally set to achieve, it's gone in another direction. For it to regain its status, it needs to be properly reformed. That is one. And I'm not sure that the guys in power right now will be open to such reform, because it means it will come into question their own legitimacy, as it were.
Yep.
Because none of them pays their subvention anymore, if any of them do. So majority of the subvention comes from bodies outside of Africa.
The EU,
So you
biggest
can
one.
read, by logic, you can determine what is discussed on the affairs on the floor of the OAU whenever it is they meet. Gone are the days of fiery speeches when someone can tell you, let's not pay our debts, and everybody will clap. Now, those kind of conversations cannot even come up. Gone are the days where you could say, oh, we're not dealing with this government because this government has a certain policy with regards to how we see ourselves. Gone are those days. Right now, everything you hear out of them are milquetoast speeches, communiques that have no bearing on everyday reality. So that's why I said, let's just set aside the OAU. If we focus on those countries, on the individual thing, we have social media. There was a poll done that's where the majority of people get their news from now. It's social media. So it goes without saying that who was speaking in the chat earlier said they were not sure about. The same way you got that news, I got news from BBC and Guardian Unlimited. So that's a reputable news organization. That's where I still get my news from. What I then do is reading between the lines to hear what is said and what is not being said. On social media, someone with a mic and a hazy background can come on and just tell you what they want you to hear. Depending on what the overall narrative is, people will run with it. Now, I'm just coming here to say, with regards to Nigeria, for those who are unaware, the Brits colonized Nigeria, starting with the Southern Protectorate, got the Northern Protectorate, bonded them into two in 1914, called the Amalgamation of Nigeria, brought in Lagos, which is where I'm from. After, they bombard the place with their cannons and what have you, that Oba Kosoko had to basically just yielded because he didn't want his people destroyed. That became a crown colony in 1851. All of them were roped in together and became Nigeria in 1950. Why is all of that important? There was a disparate level of development between the North and the South. Independence only brought that to the fore, because every time pronouncements were made, people saw their idea of Nigeria through the lenses of where they lived. So because you had two people running a 100 meters race and somebody's already at the 50-meter mark, the person at the 100 meters race had to be given a catch-up period. That catch-up period has been, cut through with coups, election malfeasance, corruption, and what have you. Fast forward Nigeria that you have in 2025. Certain parts of the country are so behind in terms of what needs to happen, i.e. in terms of human development indexes and what have you. That lends itself into, quote unquote, the problems with regards to how people see what their stake is in Nigeria. The guys who come in, at least the positive, the overall narrative is majority of the people who are doing the stuff are not even Nigerians. Let's hold that thought for a moment. But then, if they come in and meet people who are desperate for whatever help they want, and they think they get help from these people, guess where their allegiance turns to? It turns away from what they are part of into what these guys are now promising them. So the strikes that happened yesterday happened in northwest Nigeria, not the northeast of Nigeria where Boko Haram is happening. Why am I making that distinction? Northwest, in the grand scheme of things, is relatively peaceful. I'm not saying it doesn't have its problems.
I'm glad you said that. Yep.
But it's relatively peaceful. But what is in the northwest? In the northwest, you have the Sokoto Caliphate, which is where most of the Muslims within Nigeria consider to be the guiding light with regards to Islam in Nigeria. And some would lend, I mean, the narrative over time has been most of those guys get their instructions from those guys in the Sokoto Caliphate. And so when
the Northwest is also close to Benin, close to Burkina Faso. So, and look at as you comment, look at the message I just put that's from the Times, right? Look at that exact paragraph in their report and attach it to what you're saying, because I truly believe this is the agenda. But go on, Adesoji.
Okay, so you then have that as one, a shot across the bow to say, we know you're there. But then again, it's also a signal to the guys in Burkina Faso, in Niger, is like, if we can strike your big brother, guess what we can do to you? So those are the part of the consequences that I think we should also, consider, because without this notion of what is our play, people still go run with that Christian narratives. And if you want to protect Christians, you're not going to strike the Northwest.
Yeah. That's the irony of the whole thing. Exactly. It doesn't make no sense.
Which is why it's not about that. And here goes this, right? Because I was texting this to you all, and Adesoji addressed that paragraph, and so Oladile, you as well.
Yeah.
So Benin, and I'm glad you mentioned that, starting from your betrayer in chief, national security representative, going to the US and being told what to do and coming back, and this is what we are seeing. But also the fake coup in Benin.
Yeah.
The fake, and I'm going to call it that, the fake coup in Benin was planned to allow French military presence in Benin. So now the US and the French are now in that area.
Yeah, imagine.
And this is probably because France and the US are partners, right? When it comes to imperialists. So the French have probably been making calls since last year. Since when Traore started doing this, we need help, we need help, we need help.
Because Macron is in trouble. Financially, right? Macron is in deep shit in France.
And so the US tells them, make the fast move. And they make the fast move, and they're like, okay, we're going to make a move, and together we can fight terrorism. Because this paragraph, that's what it's saying. The Nigerian foreign minister is saying, we're not going to pay attention on what has been said. We're going to pay attention on what is being done now. And we're going to fight, and this is going to be continued. It says there, long term.
And that's the sad thing, long term. That basically means they're digging in.
So speak to that, guys.
You know what? While you're saying that, I had something that, in terms of America's complicity to what's going on. Give me 1 second. I'll just bring that up. We have precedents, basically, because they've been doing a lot of stuff all over the world. What did I write? So give me a second. I'm just going to bring it up. 1 second. Okay. So we have precedent.
So you might want to just do audio. Just do audio, because it's okay to hear your thoughts without the video. Go on.
Okay, US. Whenever US goes into a place, They go with ulterior motives, always do.
Always.
Don't forget the Vietnam War between 1964 and 1973. Guys, if you follow history, you know what happened there. Iraq War, the Gulf War, weapons of fake market destruction between 1991 to 2003. Guys, you know what happened there. That's the US. Afghanistan, between 2001 to 2021. You know what happened? They left.
Panama, they claimed it was anti-drug, right?
Yeah.
They said that
Latin America,
was pushing, but it was about the canal.
Yeah. So Libya, you know what happened there? 2011. So whenever US goes into a place, and this is the delusion about every African that thinks that this white savior syndrome just pisses me off, because you think that the white people are coming to save you. They've never saved you. They've never done anything. They've never done anything in history that's going to help you. So why do you think they're coming to save the Christians in Nigeria today when they've never done it before? So that's the thing. They've never done it before. But for some reason, some delusional mindset, Africans think that the white people are coming to save them. US has gone into places. It's all about their national security. That's what they always say. It's about our national security. If what you're doing goes against the interest, i.e., the capitalist interest, the multinational interest, they're coming after you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
And that is what. Yes, we can hear you perfect.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
And
quickly, that is what national security means. By the way, translation: national security is access to resources.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Because the United States is not under threat right now. They have a huge military. They could stay within their borders and protect their country. They're not under threat. They have the technology to scan radar to see attacks coming from miles away. This is not about national security. If it was about national security, that is where they would remain. Because dispersing their military elsewhere reduces their national security. It reduces their forces. So they themselves jeopardize their own national security by being in every other place. So this ain't about national security. This is about imperial access, empire building, access to resources, access to Africa and control of Africa. Brother Babajide, welcome.
Babajide, yes. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
That's all good.
Thank you for your patience. You know, I had a bit of, I'm not in my natural environment, so I had a bit of technical issues. So I've had the opportunity to at least listen to Adesoji, Nduku, and Oladele whilst, you know, I was trying to tackle all these things. And I think we find ourselves in a very, very difficult situation. I think I would have seen that news pop up on my phone in almost like in real time yesterday, and I tell you, I was it took me back a few years, because in my opinion, what has just happened is very, very, I think they've just taken our sovereignty away.
Yeah.
We've
never had sovereignty, my brother. We've never had it anyway.
The disguise of what we had.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but now
they made it worse.
I feel with that sovereignty has been stripped away. I mean, it's almost like our president has been disrespected. Yeah. Do you understand?
No.
Our president.
No. Quickly.
Yes.
Quickly, brother.
Yes.
It hasn't been taken away. It has been given away by the Nigerian government.
Yes.
They gave it away on a silver platter. But go on.
So let me tell you what I think played out. Okay. Now, President Trump gave a warning a few weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't believe he would do what he said he was going to do. But I then also said that, okay, let's assume I'm wrong. Yeah, he would do it with respect, right? But he's now gone ahead and done the strike anyway, did it on Christmas Day, released this very disrespectful tweet, Christmas Day, released this very disrespectful tweet, and now the Nigerian government is forced to say, oh, it was a joint strike. It was a joint decision.
I actually have this statement, actually.
Do you understand? But let me tell you what's worrying. What's worrying for me is that our own president hasn't actually come out to tell his own people to say, my fellow Nigerians, yesterday night, just like George W. Bush did when he invaded Iraq many years ago, to say, my fellow Nigerians, we have decided as a nation to collaborate with the US and go and hit these guys wherever they are. None of that has happened. None of that has happened. I mean, what's going on? And you know, in me going back into the history of Nigeria, look, I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, we want to bring back the military guys, or you know, there is no way this would have happened.
Never.
A Gowon, a Muritala, a Babangida, or an Abacha. It is not possible, because
it will never happen.
The statement alone, that Trump made a few weeks ago would be a declaration of war against the military establishment. It's why isn't he saying he's going to go into Burkina Faso? Because you say that you're declaring war against the military junta.
And this is where democracy is a facade for me.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
You know, I received a phone call from a friend, you know, not too long ago, and I mean, it's like we, especially our generation, those of us here now, our generation, it's almost like we don't have a leg to stand on. So our leaders, you know, the Awolowas, the Ziks, the Ahmadu Bellos, for whatever, the Lumumbas, they fought for us. They did whatever they could. They were taken out, like you guys mentioned earlier. They were taken out. And it seems like our generation were brought up on these, you know, American movies, these war movies, you know, very fanciful movies, like, oh yeah, you know, they can just come in and get rid of these terrorists, and we're allowing it to happen.
Right?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've been spoon feeding us, or should I say sensitizing us.
Superman,
yes,
Spider-Man,
you know,
Marvel,
Captain
all
America,
of those, and they're all American except one black one.
Do you know what I mean?
They're
Captain
Americans.
America. So now it's normal for us to say, oh yes, because I've read a few tweets, I've read a few posts on Instagram, and I could just weep at some of the things I'm reading.
Yeah. It's sad. It's
You know, I was telling a friend as well. Sorry, Bolaji Akinyemi, the venerable professor of international affairs. He was a minister for foreign affairs under Ibrahim Babangida. He was on Arise TV, I think it was last year. And I must say, he gave Ruben Abati and his crew a lesson on patriotism. Okay, that there is you have whatever it is. The Awolowo was fought for our sovereignty, right? And whatever happens, you cannot give another nation authority over your country. You understand? These guys, you know, the Professor Akinyemis and co, they are the kind of people that understand what
the politics behind the politics, the hidden hand.
I'm not even talking about the politics now. I'm talking about
the hidden hand.
Yes, but the journey that got us to this point. It's almost like we've gone full circle back into. It's almost like we're being recolonized. It's as simple as that. And I like the example that Adesoji gave. He gave the example of gunboat diplomacy during the Kosoko times. That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
You go and take out the terrorists, or we do it for you, and by doing it for you, we're now ruling over you. You know. How do we? I mean, look. How do we come out of this now?
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask.
What leg do we stand on to say?
But here's my question, Babajide, and I hear you, right? How do we come out of this? When we are in the circles we are, when you mention defense, everyone shies away. No, we need to be neutral. We need to have spirituality. We need to have kindness. We need to have harmony. We can't do this. The spirit will take care of it. Death is a part of natural order. No, we cannot do that. You can't come with your aggressive nature. You have to be understanding. So how can that type of a person, and that is the majority in Africa, even start to think about defense?
Passive, docility.
The thought of it scares them.
Yes. Let me tell you how I describe it. Right? Or how I describe it.
Why did spirituality stop those bombs from hitting Nigeria? I'm sorry, brother. Go on. Let me mute myself.
Exactly. You know, I mean, you know how I describe it, right? You know, going back to my analysis of Nigeria, 3% of Nigerians are in the formal sector, 97% are in the informal sector. If we use that analogy, that means 1% of the 3%, yeah, you and I comprise, or we that are sat here comprise of that 1%. Okay, that says no, we should not be allowing this to happen. Right? So that battle is between us and if we take that 3% as 100%, so that means 99%. Yeah, of the rest of that 3% have this colonial mindset that, you know, guys can come in and save us. So can you see the battle there? Can you see the battle there? That those of us, we've called this podcast right now. How many other people would have done the same thing across the world today? We're all sitting in our living rooms having those conversations, not bold enough to come out and say, no, we've allowed the wrong thing to happen here. I was even listening to Arise this morning. Arise. It's almost like, I mean, I couldn't even believe it. Rufai Oseni, I haven't finished watching that episode, but what I've watched so far, it's almost like Rufai Oseni, someone that I see normally likes to straddle on that patriotic line. Today, bro, he's almost justifying what has happened. And Ruben Abati too is trying to toe those lines as well. Like, oh, well, you know, maybe at least they've hit the terrorists, etc. I'm like, my goodness. You see, the press at the moment, the Nigerian press at the moment is failing us. We haven't got any press in Nigeria. The person I was speaking to earlier, she said she was up since 2 a.m. She hasn't slept. She was watching CNN. She was watching all the foreign press carrying this news. None of the Nigerian press carried it until this morning. I remember the Iraq war. In the UK here, it was almost like 24 hours news. That was when the term was coined, 24 hours news cycle.
Wall-to-wall coverage.
You understand? That was when all these things started going live. And look at, they're bombing Nigeria, and you know the Nigerian press, the channels and the likes of them are quiet. No.
You know what, bro? What's going on in Nigeria right now? And this is basically what we keep saying. And when we have this podcast, this is what we're trying to say. Guys, we need to decolonize our thinking. Big time. We need to decolonize thinking. Thinking as a coconut is not going to help you. Because a lot of us think are coconuts because we've been educated with the European education.
Yes.
So the white people can do no wrong.
This is a great day to play as zombie. Today is a great day.
Yeah, we think because we've been dedicated by them, by these people, we couldn't see no evil in them. But my people, just look into history. Look into history of what the white people have done in Africa.
Yeah,
it's there.
Yeah,
they've messed us up so badly that we are here today idolizing the same evil people that done evil to you. Unduku, you got it right. Zombie.
Yes, now fella has preached this thing several times, you know. And look, we are in a difficult place, not just as a country now. We're in a difficult place
as a continent,
as a people.
Yeah.
You understand? Because in Yoruba, there's a saying, Nkota ma je, konje ka rinran.
Yeah.
So what you're going, because of what you're going to eat,
Yeah.
you can't think straight, if I can paraphrase it that way. That is exactly our problem right now. Because people are afraid to speak out because they say, my job in the US or my job in the UK, that, you know, tippy-toeing. When is it going to end?
Yes.
We're tippy-toeing into our own graves.
Yes.
I mean, we say Fela. It's important that we highlight the fact that Fela actually provided the soundtrack of Africa's history. Every machination of this kind of milquetoast leadership that we've had, as you know, he went from army arrangement to colonial mentality, which would actually be key here, or you know, or like you were talking about, Brother Babajide was talking about what's his name, Rufai and
Abati.
Yeah, Mr. Follow. You don't have this kind of critical thinking that you could say, listen, we know this happened, but this is what we need to really hope does not happen again. And why did we even allow this to happen? Why?
Yeah.
So I see all of that to say this. When the leaders you evoked earlier, your Awolowo, Zik, and Ahmadu Bello, one thing they were key about was, yes, they might have their differences, but when it comes to that map, for them, that was their thought process. That map was their thought process. Moving the chess pieces here and then, how do you get electoral majority, was about that chess piece called Nigeria, the chessboard called Nigeria.
Yes.
And never, we need to reiterate that. Even at the height of Biafra, during the Civil War, there were no foreign troops positioned on Nigeria. Yes, you had Egyptian pilots flying some Nigerian planes.
Yes.
But you had no foreign forces based on Nigerian soil.
Yeah.
Why? Because they understood what the look was and what it meant.
Yep.
In fact, the late Diagmo once said, when Queen Elizabeth II said they wish to have a state visit, his retort was, what has she forgotten? Because they know that you've gone. Yeah. We need not allow you the back door to come in and do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the worst part. Yeah. The same Nigeria that led the frontline states against apartheid South Africa with all the capitalist muscle of the West behind South Africa and defeated South Africa. In the propaganda game, yes, they didn't commit troops, but the kind of resources they committed in terms of money. We lost Muritala Mohammed on account of that.
Yes.
But we still continue to say, listen, this is where we stand. He's now basically on his knees to the United States.
You know what? As you say that, Saji, as you say that, it basically makes me angry. What have we become as Nigeria? It's sad. And we have a lot of Nigerians here who are going to be defending this stupidity. I've seen so many people coming up here and defending Tinubu.
I mean, the fact that you said you saw people dancing is insane to me.
I mean, let's look at it. Look at this point of view. Let me just give you a funny analogy. It would be like me cheating on my wife. Yeah? And then my brother-in-law says, oh, by the way, well, you cheated on your wife. Let your neighbor sleep with your wife to make it
even.
I mean, that's crazy.
But some people, what I feel is that there's some how would I put it? Some people within the Nigerian tribal dynamics feel, you know, they feel this action with the US, right? That says, oh, everything the US does is good, and because some of them, I mean, I don't want to be too political here, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here, because we had that first civil war, and as much as we know that, yeah, there were interests in that civil war, it shouldn't have happened. Some people said it was an Igbo civil war. That's been disputed. Let's leave that aside for a second. I don't want to go into the point of that, because that's another topic on its own. But you cannot say because of that, you now feel it's justifiable for the US to come and bomb Nigeria. You cannot say that.
No.
You can't.
And
you know,
to piggyback on
that's what's feeding into this narrative. I mean, I remember again, Arise. Sorry, just bear with me for a second. You know, last week, one of the anchors, Ayo, right, said, "Oh, when Representative Riley Moore came to Nigeria the other day, he was so nice. The comments were good, etc., etc. But by the time he got to the US, everything changed, and that is what has led to these bombings." Exactly what Oladile was saying earlier. You think, you know, they come, they give you that smile, everything's hunky-dory, you know, they've gone back home now, and they've set the platform to strike you. You know, how is it that someone, I don't know how old, I can't even remember how old Riley Moore is, right? But the way I describe this thing is, someone born in rural America today is destined to be the ruler of my people, or to have a say over my people in 20, 30 years' time as an adult. I mean, please make that make sense to me.
Okay, guys, where do we go from here?
I was gonna say, what was Adesoji saying, and then quickly I have something to say, and then let's do where do we go from here?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just going to add with regards to what you just mentioned, that someone from rural America.
Yes.
I mean, there is a constant narrative in Nigeria, and I see that thing, and I think sometimes if we don't truly explore that question, we miss the trees, we miss the forest for the trees. And it's this: since that civil war, and coming out of the civil war, the mini partitioning of Nigeria into all those states in multiple drops, the idea was to get development down to the people. But if you look at Nigeria, the development has been in only, okay, aside from Abuja, where basically it was like, just name your price, the development has been just
in the pockets of the military people, Adesoji.
Yeah, it's just been, you know, out of the world. I said all of that to say this: the only reason why anyone within that sphere would say whatever you do to my countrymen is okay is because of desperate despair. When people have to beg to feed themselves, they cannot plan anything, which is why I feel leadership has really failed Nigeria. The Gulf War. And this is one key thing that we never really focused on. The Gulf War allowed Nigeria $12 billion US dollars.
A lot of money.
$12 billion US dollars that is unaccounted for till today. Make matters worse.
Wow.
Was it early this year or late last? Early this year.
Yeah.
The same guy who was that, who also displaced a free and fair election, you rolled out the carpet, the drums. He publishes a book no one within the press has picked up that book and say, this is wrong, this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie. In fact, they were fawning over themselves.
Yeah, basically donating a lot of money
to his presidential library, to the same guy who has already
who's destroyed Nigeria,
black and blue. So, which
we have a problem.
Your question, which is, where do we go?
Where do we go from here? Because if we keep, like fellas saying, as long as we keep praising our oppressors, which is what we're doing, where do we go from here, guys?
Okay,
so quickly before we answer that quickly. So I did a quick, and this is just to have you all, give you guys points to go away thinking about. This is not necessarily to say this is the source of the legit information. I did a quick prompt on ChatGPT saying, thinking of everything that has happened since Traore came into power and the creation of the Sahel Alliance, is this a possible strategy by the US and France to neutralize this effort to liberate and detach Africa from exploiters? So I'm going to read quickly one of the responses. How empire responds to exists, historical pattern. When a region attempts to detach, imperial powers rarely respond with direct invasion first. They use containment and neutralization strategies. Number one, isolation, sanctions, diplomatic pressure, media delegitimization. Number two, encirclement, militarization of neighboring states, intelligence penetration via adjacent allies, proxy instability near borders. Number three, narrative warfare, terrorism, religious violence, human rights crisis, Christians under attack. Number four, divide and prevent. Prevent regional powers like Nigeria from aligning with sovereign blocs. Keep large states distracted internally. This is Cold War Playbook 101 updated for Africa.
That's exactly what's going on. I agree. And that's exactly what's going on. That is we're saying sorry, Bajide, and we're basically bringing us to guys for you to basically understand how the hegemonic powers work. For those of you watching this today and still siding with the hegemonic powers, you need to go read history, understand. And I'll say this categorically, unapologetically. The Oyinbo, the Muzungu, is not here to save Africa. They're only in Africa because of what they are going to take away from you guys. They don't care if you die. They don't care who kills each other. As long as they can extract. As long as they can extract at the detriment of you. And they don't care about you. Be it Christian, but be it Muslim, they don't worry. This history tells us that they've been doing it for almost 400 or 500 years. And they keep doing it. So, as the leopard ever changes spots? No.
Hey, look at you, my Nigerian Yoruba brother.
So I think whilst I was struggling to get on earlier, I think I'm not sure if it was Adesoji or Oladele that touched on, and I think Ndukutu, you touched on the Sahel conspiracy. Okay, now what this airstrike has proven first and foremost to America is that they can launch an airstrike from SSS whatever warship they used yesterday
version it is
into the Sahel. Okay, because there was an analysis done on Arise this morning where Vimbai put up the screen and she mapped out where the strike hit, and that strike hit close to Niger.
Imagine. Sokoto is close to Niger anyway. So
and if they're arguing terrorism, guess which of the three of the Sahel Alliance has had most of them?
Niger.
It's Niger, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Niger. You understand? So if and apparently there was the ship sailed from the US to France and from France into
wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute, brother. Give us that route again. And is it the only route they can take?
Well, it's not, but you can see what's happening here. It went to France, and from France, it went to the current location before deploying that missile.
And we think that they didn't pick up any analysts from France.
They
didn't pick up any analysts from France.
Some very well learned analysts, if you know what I mean, that can probably hit the ground into the Sahel region and see how things can or see how things are playing out. But you know, to cut the long story short, to be honest, the objective that I see here is that this may be a reconnaissance mission as to, okay, how are we going to deal with these three guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are we going to deal with these three
I see
guys?
that.
And now they've tested the missile. It landed. It hit. Okay, that works. Okay, and at the same time, they may be sending a message. They may be sending a message to the guys that, look, you know, you guys want access to the sea. You may not get it, and if you're going to get it, you're going to have to fight for it, because now we're here. We're here, and with this presence, think about it: Benin, Togo, right? Yep. Which are countries that the Sahelian countries wanted to have some form of relationship with, so they can have access to the sea. Yep. That's going to become a problem now.
Yeah, it is.
You
they have some friendship with Togo, but look what messed with Togo. Yeah, but
it became a problem the minute the coup failed in Benin. That was the first hit.
Yes. So the coup failed in Benin, but look at the conspiracy that started after the failure. So the conspiracy is that the coup plotters fled to Togo. Yeah. Right? So Togo is now under attack to release, not under attack, if you know what I mean, under pressure to release the coup plotters. So what does that mean invariably? Togo is now going to be under watch.
Under the thumb.
Yes, it's going to be under watch. So basically the Sahelian countries, they are now on their own technically. They've got to find another way out.
Yeah, they're surrounded basically.
They're surrounded, yes.
Wow.
I mean, so
okay. So going back to where do we go from here? To be honest, where we go from here to I don't even have a clue where to start.
I know it's unknown to us. It's unknown to us, because if we can't even talk defense in spaces where we are,
No, I mean, for me, it's the Yorubas do have a saying that Taba Mobitan law, Asha Mobitan, which is if you do not know where you're coming from, you at least, if you don't know where you're going, you at least know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Adesoji, quickly, because this is the second time our member of the audience asked this, and I actually did not address it. But quickly, let's address it before we go to where do we.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen. You can see it.
It can help. Look at that question. Does Nigeria have military security capacity to make it free of Boko Haram, Islamic insurgency? And this person is asking this to point out something else, as you can see from the question.
Yes.
Go on, if not, why not?
Okay.
If yes, why aren't security measures being implemented?
So when it comes to Nigeria, if Nigeria wanted to snuff out Boko Haram, they can. Yeah. They've done it. They've done it before.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah.
People can Google the Maitasine riots in 1981, if I'm not mistaken. 1980, sorry. And this was another religious sect. This was actually in Kaduna. And they wanted to, profess a religion that, gave Islam to all sorts of machinations. And in the course of that, they killed some security forces. To make matters worse, this same Maitasine thing happened during a civilian regime. This was during President Shehu Shagari's government. They snuffed it out in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks. Not even a month, in 3 weeks. So it's not that Nigeria doesn't have the capacity. The problem here is the Nigerian military is, for want of explanation, is basically driving with their handbrake on.
Weak.
No, they're not weak. Believe me, they're not.
Yes. They're playing into imperialism for whatever reason.
For you to understand what Boko Haram represents, you first of all have to understand the terrain. If you look in the northeast of Nigeria, there are 3 countries bordering Nigeria: Niger, Chad, Cameroon. On the Cameroonian side, you've got the Mambilo Plateau, which is the high mountains. Yeah? in Chad, you basically got Lake Chad, and then you've got the Sambisa forest. So what you're effectively saying is the terrain that does not allow a ground holding insurgency to take root would survive this long if Nigeria really wants to crush it. Because you don't have anything, you don't have any sort of defense. There's no place for you to run to. You're basically gonna either run into the mountains, which you won't be able to survive in, or you run into the lake. So the idea itself, anytime I hear that thing, that Nigeria, no, it's someone is disturbing the Nigerian military from getting at their skies. It's not that they can't.
So basically, in a nutshell, what you're saying is they're compromised.
They're compromised. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They're
So
compromised.
aside, as if I can just add to that, I think another observation that is it an observation or an analysis that I also did that I feel is also impacting the Nigerian military. Maybe someone will hear what I'm about to say now and come back to us and say, yes or no. I think when Obasanjo came to power, there was a deliberate effort to, I think the term that was used then was to remove the firing pin from the military so that they could no longer carry out coups.
Yeah.
America helped with that. Okay? Maybe there were good reasons, I can't tell. Only time will tell.
If America helps, bro, there's no good reason.
Exactly. So where am I going? So where I'm going is that removal of the firing pin, what did it entail? Because I feel it's looking at the military now, and if you compare the military during this last 26 years of the civilian regime and compare it with the military of the ECOMOG era, there's a clear difference. You do not joke with the military of the ECOMOG era. You can't. You can't. So what has changed? So that makes me draw the conclusion that the Nigerian military during this civilian era was depleted. Because how is it that a few years ago now, I'm not sure whether, I think it was during Jonathan's time, there was a military guy that was kidnapped and killed and dumped in a quarry, and it is an abandoned quarry many years ago. Please let people Google this and prove me wrong. Yeah. A military guy. So senior military officers over the years been attacked in Nigeria. I grew up during the military era. You don't joke with soldiers.
No.
You don't joke with the ordinary corporal, let alone generals.
A general.
So this is the level to which the Nigerian military has been depleted.
Yeah.
I mean, when that Wike incident happened with Yerima, right? Where I was like, nah, you don't speak to the military like this. When did Nigeria get to this level? And lo and behold, the following day, the military closed ranks. They closed ranks and said, yes, they are backing this boy. You do not speak to the military like that. Because indirectly, what Wike was doing was disrespecting the president. The president is the commander-in-chief.
Commander-in-chief, yeah.
You understand? So the question is, where has all that gone? Commander-in-chief. So where has all that gone? Where has all that respect? Bolaji Akinyemi, he wrote an article. He delivered a lecture. I published an article a few weeks ago on this. There was a term, called Pax Nigeriana. Pax Nigeriana was a term used to describe the fact that Nigeria was going to become the giant of Africa. And probably the world.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a deliberate effort to stop Nigeria from becoming that giant.
Yeah.
He knew it.
Okay, guys, in conclusion, based on what we've been talking about for the last 84 minutes.
Yes.
It basically say what everybody's been saying here is we're in a dire state.
Yes.
As a continent.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are.
We're in a dire state.
We are.
So basically, based on what we're all been saying here, is how are we going to dig ourselves out of this? Because it doesn't look promising.
So because we said we don't know, my brothers, my Nigerian brothers, because we said we don't know, I went to ChatGPT one more time and asked a question. So let me read what ChatGPT told us. Because we said we don't know, right? So I said to ChatGPT, what does Africa and what do Africans now do to avoid recolonization and complete surrender of our sovereignty? And it came back and said, and bear with me, my people, because out of this, maybe our memory, our intelligence might be jogged to see where these strategies could go, right? First, understand the moment we're in. Africa is not approaching recolonization. Africa is already inside a soft recolonization phase.
Yep.
The current phase uses security agreements instead of flags, debt instead of chains, NGOs instead of governors, religion and human rights instead of missionaries, media narratives instead of direct rule. This is neo-imperial consolidation.
Yeah,
and consolidation only succeeds if Africans remain divided, dependent, and ideologically disarmed. If we don't stand with one ideology.
Yeah.
Number two,
And that's ChatGPT.
Yes, I'm telling you, if you prompt it,
you get answers.
It's collecting data from different sources. It has, you call it intelligent, but it has no intelligence.
Yeah.
It doesn't know how to deceive you.
Yes.
It has been given certain criteria not to cross, and I've tried hard to break them. Trust me, and I'll tell you, the three of you behind closed doors, I've tried to break them, but it doesn't go past it. Like I've tried to break. You can see where the guards are that you cannot go past.
Yeah.
Number two, what must be done at the state level, governments, and unilateral decisions on continental access.
I agree.
No African country should have the authority to grant foreign military access, host foreign bases, invite intervention, sign security agreements without continental or regional approval.
I agree.
Yes.
This requires AU binding treaties with penalties. Actually, the AU working.
Yes.
It requires regional veto power, and I fear this is the reason why we don't have a solution. It requires public disclosure of all foreign military and intelligence agreements. It requires, sovereignty must become continental, not merely national.
I agree.
Under that same point, build African-controlled security architecture. Africa must create African intelligence sharing networks, develop joint rapid response defense forces, control airspace, satellites, and communications, train doctrine rooted in African terrain and realities. Foreign security guarantees are the most dangerous dependency.
Absolutely.
I will say that one more time.
Yeah.
Foreign security guarantees are the most dangerous dependency.
Yes.
Another point, remove foreign control over money. You said this at Desoji, or maybe it was Babajide.
Yeah.
No sovereignty exists without monetary power. Africa must break dependency on IMF, World Bank conditionalities, build regional currencies and settlement systems, trade intra-Africa in African currencies, establish sovereign development banks. Debt is the primary weapon of recolonization.
Yes.
Item 3. What must be done at the ideological? I'm almost there. Yeah. What must be done at the ideological and cultural level? This is where most Africans are currently defenseless. Again, what must be done at the ideological and cultural level? And ChatGPT says, this is where most Africans are currently defenseless. A, decolonize the African mind urgently.
Yes.
Africans must understand Christianity and Islam were vehicles of empire.
Yes.
Media narratives are battlefields. International community is a fictional authority. International community is a fictional authority. Humanitarian language often masks resource control.
Yes.
This does not require attacking individuals' beliefs. Like, we don't have to go attacking each other individually.
That's globalization.
It requires removing foreign ideologies from governance and security decisions. Which is what Traore did when Saudi Arabia offered him money to build mosques. He is a Muslim, but he said, this is not helping our people and our agenda. So no civilization survives using another civilization's worldview. I will say that one more time. No civilization survives using another civilization's worldview.
Yeah.
Bear with me, my brothers and sisters. Let's hear what it has to tell us all the way.
Yeah.
Restore African spiritual and philosophical. We're talking still under ideology and culture. Restore African spirituality and philosophical foundations. But please, my spiritual brothers and sisters, do not make that the central source of, now this is me side noting, do not make that the central form of defense. It isn't. It hasn't proven to be. It never has. And you who's been detached from your way of being do not have the power today to do it, because you need a collective mass for it to be powerful.
Yeah.
You don't have that. So chill a little bit with your spirituality as you continue to restore it, and let's think logically as far as defense. Why this matters strategically. Spiritual frameworks shape loyalty. External religions create external allegiance.
Yeah.
Ideological dependence invites intervention.
Yeah.
Africa must recenter indigenous ethics, Ubuntu, Ma'at, communalism. Separate religion from state power. Reject, especially when you have so many religions, you can't have it in state power if you represent all your people.
Nope.
You can't logically. Reject any narrative that frames Africa as needing civilization rescue. Section 4, what must be done at the people's level? Critical. What do we need to do critically? Governments will fail without conscious populations. Political education for the masses. Africans must be taught how imperialism operates today, which is why we are doing this session. This session is not to complain, it is to inform and analyze what just happened.
Yes.
Africans must be taught how imperialism operates today, how narratives justify violence, why instability benefits external powers, how to recognize manufactured crisis. This education must happen through community forums. So after myself, Oladele, Adesoji, Babajide get off here, we must connect community members and continue this conversation.
Yes.
Digital platforms, this is what we're doing here. Adesoji has his platform, Oladele has his platform, we continue the conversation. Cultural production, schools independent of colonial curricula. Again, that last one. Schools independent of colonial curricula. Are we even anywhere close to that? No. So this is why the three of us have no answer, the four of us.
Yeah.
We
And
do
then
have answers.
Yeah. And thank you. You will give them in a minute. And an educated population is the empire's greatest ally. Pan-African solidarity, practical, not symbol. Again, practical, not simple, because I'm sick and tired of intellectual bullshit. I'm sorry. Today is an honest day.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of you intellectuals walking around with how many books you've written and Dr. this and Dr. that and how I must present myself to you with protocol and nonsense and nothing practical. And actually, when you educate me and I start seeing the truth and I propose that we do something practical, you eject me from the organization and from your presence. So Pan-African solidarity, practical, not symbolic. Solidarity must include economic boycotts of exploitative entities, support for sovereignty-driven governments, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, cross-border cultural and political coordination, collective resistance to sanctions and propaganda. Africa cannot afford neutrality. We cannot, Oladele?
Yeah,
What did I tell you?
we can't afford it.
Africa cannot afford neutrality.
We have to take sides.
Number 5, let me see how many there are there so that I can let you all know, because I know people are all about TikTok videos and wanting to be over in 2 minutes. All right.
Exactly.
Number 5, what Africa must stop doing immediately.
Okay.
Africa must stop appealing to Western moral authority.
Amen.
There you go there.
Yes.
Adesoji mentioned that before.
Okay.
They have no moral ground. Competing for imperial approval.
Proximity to whiteness.
Africa must stop framing conflicts as tribal or religious.
Yeah.
Must stop, because that is a tool of imperialism.
Yeah.
Trusting foreign security partners. Who had such nonsense? They're your enemies. How can they be your partners?
Partners, imagine.
Yeah.
Allowing NGOs to replace governance. You have NGO members all over the place in your government. Allowing external media to define African reality. Yeah, I'm about NGO. Bill Gates' organization is all over African governments. These behaviors invite recolonization. The hard truth must be said. This is number 6. Liberation will not be peaceful. Oh. All of you who want to have harmonization and peace and kumbaya and let's meditate
But
and stuff.
they're not gonna give up.
Liberation will not be peaceful. Detachment will be punished. Unity will be tested. It will be tested.
Yeah.
Every civilization that freed itself paid a price.
Yeah.
Africa's choice is not peace versus struggle. It is managed exploitation versus difficult sovereignty. The final message to us, to an Ubuntu, the closing statement.
Yeah.
You can say this, sorry. Africa does not lack intelligence,
Yep.
resources, or people.
Yep.
What we have lacked is unity, ideological clarity, and the courage to detach. The courage to detach.
And that's the thing.
Recolonization only succeeds when Africans consent through fear, division, or dependence. Our task now is to refuse consent, to think for ourselves, to defend each other, to build systems that do not require imperial permission to exist. My brothers, now that ChatGPT has
given us a direction.
And this is basically what we're saying. Me and Nduku and all our guys have been in this for a while. We keep saying this, guys. We need to decolonize our thought process.
Yes.
Your Western education will never give you the solution Africa needs. It needs to be Afrocentric. Afrocentrism, Ubuntu, in my Yoruba language, they call it Agbaje Olafin Soya.
Yes. Yes.
Putting together.
Yes.
Do not let the divisions of the Muzungus get to you, because you stay divided, they infiltrate.
Like I like to add to what Oladele has just said, and I think this is something I say to people all the time. Adam Smith's economics cannot solve Africa's problem. Why? And I need to put this out there again.
Yeah, some of them quoted.
Yes. So what was going on when Adam Smith wrote his theory? Slavery, colonization. So how can someone write a theory, an economic theory, that was benefiting the colonial economy? Yeah, you then take that
the enslavement economy,
apply it to your own post-colonial existence.
Yeah,
it's not going to work. Because it's like me going to my neighbor and, you know that your garden, I'm going to take over that garden, grow my oranges, and nothing you can do about it. I then make money off those oranges, and I'm driving around in my Rolls Royce, and I'm saying I'm a developed economy, and my neighbor is a third world
a shithole country.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. So we need to understand that.
But then you also tell your neighbor that they can use the same strategy, and your neighbor started studying your strategy, which means your neighbor has to have someone else to exploit in the same way you exploit.
Exactly. So, and as long as you're not exploiting that someone else, you're going to be stuck in the rut that you're currently in. So until you understand that, you can't move forward. You can't. And let me tell you what I've also done, and I want to put this out there. I have studied, researched through Nigerian media, so we're talking about economics now, right? All the Nigerian economists, right, that will come on and say, oh, well, the interest rates here, or the inflation there, the numbers there, the numbers. Have they ever worked in the last 4 years? In the last 4 years that I've been researching these guys, the Nigerian economy, if you draw the trend line has gone from top to bottom. Right? Yet these African economists or Nigerian economists will come on every day and they will be saying, oh yeah, this is what the government is doing. It's not fine. Some of them do state facts, but most of what they postulate revolves around Adam Smith's economics. It does not touch the core of how an African economy, like Oladele will say, Ubuntu or whatever, Agbajowo, it does not touch on how we trade. Nobody talks about the markets. Nobody says, oh, let me go to Ojota market, K2 market, the tomato market in the north, and let's see how we can bring those markets into the modern era, like China has done. You go to those similar markets in China, they're not paying with QR codes. And that's how China has been able to manage and control, their economy.
Yeah.
They developed a Chinese economic system. Yet Africans are still trying to use a European or Western economic system. It's not going to work. And it's the same way. What I've just described now cascades across everything that we do. Everything, whether it's education,
religion, spirituality,
everything. It's all colonial.
Fashion, suits and three-piece.
It's all colonial. Everything we do. So until that stops, until that changes, we're not moving forward. I yield the floor to use
Adesoji.
Okay, so
final word from you, Adesoji.
Okay, so the thing is, Sister Duku said earlier that, you know, as intellectuals, you people come, you say big
I'm
words.
disgusted by you all. I'm disgusted by you all. I don't understand your being next to me right now.
You lose them and what have you. Okay. It's also, my people also say, you don't give a man a fish, you teach them how to fish in order to ensure their independence, right? Okay. So I'm going to give you a litany of books, but you're also going to see how this book ties into everything we're talking about today. Okay. The first one is Washington Bullets. Why Washington Bullets by Vijay Prashad, right? It talks about post-Second World War and how the United States captured all the economies of Western Europe through the Marshall Plan. So the Marshall Plan was to rebuild Europe because Europe didn't have money. The United States had, because part of the war effort was that they mass produce lots of things. They got machines, they've got, you know, the world at their oyster. So basically they gave the world, the old powers as they were then known, your Britain, France, Portugal, they gave them money, including Germany, including Japan, to rebuild. But those rebuilds were not egalitarian. They were not free loans. They came with, what do you call them? They came with sweetener.
Conditionalities.
Yeah. So the sweetener for the old colonial powers was they allowed the United States access to their old colonies.
Oh, I see what you mean. You mean after the So, they can, even then, those were conditions, right?
We will give you. They gave them access to their old colonies. Yes. So when Brother Babajide said earlier that the ship that bombed part of Europe, a part of Nigeria, went to France to pick up France. France is subservient to the interests of the United States. It cannot go in on its own to go and destroy the status quo. Anything you want to do, you first of all have to go to Washington, D.C. to go and all of this might seem like a conspiracy theory. There are actually documents in this book.
We don't do conspiracy theories, my brother.
Yeah, exactly. No. It might seem to people listening to say, you know that. They're all there in the index of this book. The documents, the people who signed them, the Bretton Woods agreements, they're all there, right? So that's one book. So now we get how the United States and the Britain and the France work hand in hand, so you had the Bretton Woods agreement we gave back to the United Nations. After the League of Nations, we gave back to the World Bank, the IMF, the international, otherwise known as the International Bank for Reconstruction, or the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, GATT, all finally that is now tied together under the umbrella body of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, otherwise called NATO.
NATO, yeah.
So all of them are their signatories to it. So everybody else is you're open to exploitation. So we've settled how they all tie together, right? So the next book would be, in order for France to have controlled all these old colonies of heirs, it created what was then known as the CFA, the currency. There's a good book out there. It's called CFA, The Last Colonial Currency. It's written by Sila. and a couple of other guys. Zilla, Zelig.
Spell Sifa, C-I-F-A.
No, S-Y-L-L-A.
SCFA. Is it?
Yeah, CFA Frank. Yeah, so it's a CFA, So why is all of that important?
No, I meant Sifa. Sifa is spelling of Sifa is what?
It's
CFA.
Yeah.
CFA.
Yeah. So this book here tells you about everybody that was anti the French involvement in their country. Sekou Touré, Modibo Keita,
Cabral.
Cabral, come up, boy. It's not in this. It's not in this book because he's not French. He's Portuguese. So Portuguese speaking. So why is all of that important? Even Niger, the guy who was the people's choice to be president before independence, was assassinated by the French. It's all in this book. So what you begin to see is understanding that history clouds over your 2025. Your 2025 doesn't have a clear blue sky. It has dark clouds. But because we're constantly staring at the ground, you're not seeing the dark clouds to say, why is the clouds about to rain? It's because those clouds have been holding up so much pain.
For so long.
And exactly.
And now we actually are literally staring on the ground.
Yes. Yeah. So you've got all of that. So your pushback would have been your, what's his name? Thomas Sankara. What did the French do? We cannot allow you to do that. Which brings me to the next guy. The next book is Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism, written by Kwame Nkrumah. Okay, so why is that important? When Kwame Nkrumah wrote this book, the United States was so pissed that the loan that they already guaranteed in order to build the Akosombo Dam in Ghana, they withheld it. And only for the gentleman to go to Vietnam via China to help broker peace during the Vietnam War, and he was overthrown. Now, the overthrow was not the sad piece. The sad piece was when he was overthrown, all his books were burnt, essentially saying we want to forget everything that these guys did or his ideas. But in that one book, Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism, he talked about foreign capital, foreign military bases, cultural exchanges. In fact, it's in that book that the Peace Corps was outed as a front for the three-letter organization in Virginia. I will not mention
that. That's the reason why a lot of us think the way we do. That's why we see this as the biggest.
Sorry, Adesoji. For those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, I know there's quite a few of you here. If you look at my post yesterday, I did post it on there. Kwame Nkrumah, an oversight of the book, basically oversight of that book. So please, So
it's Neocolonialism.
You must read that book.
So it's Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism, right?
I'm highlighting it.
Okay, so that's book number 3. Now, the reason why your what's it called? Your Burkina Faso, your Mali, your Niger will be seeking an access to the sea. It's because of the conference 1884-1885, right? And as a result, they became what is known in Tim Marshall's book, Prisoners of Geography. So as prisoners of geography, 2 things can either happen to you. Either you have resources that everybody wants, and as a result, because you're landlocked, people will determine whatever they pay for your resources. But when you have access to the sea to take it to market, guess what happens? The world opens up to you. So one of the ploy of the Berlin Conference was to constantly use that prisoner of geography to ensure you're locked in. Access to the sea is denied you, which is what happened with Togo and Benin. So that's T. Marshall, prisoner of geography. Yeah.
And as you continue to the next one, this is why Kenya is such a strategic ally for the West in the eastern side of Africa.
So
this is why South Africa is a strategic ally of the West in the southern
So which
part.
actually brings me to Kenya. Yeah.
Thank you.
So when we come to Kenya, you have to understand the model of Kenya is an advanced model of colonialism. It's called settler colonialism. We don't just allow you to be you. We come there and you become your mirror. So when you see us, we become the model citizen. Why is that important? A gentleman wrote a book in 1986. He's an ancestor now, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. The book is titled Decolonizing the Mind.
Yes.
Yeah? It's a 4-part essay, and it's brilliant. It's still well sought after till today. Yeah?
Yep.
So you understand all of that to understand how all of what I've mentioned before continues to pass. Even our press, yeah? The idea of what you see on TV that is projected back at you as the standard becomes the way you view the world. And
have you seen? I'm glad you said that. All Kenyan press. Hello, good morning. This is Jeff.
Well, they do the same thing. They do the same thing in
Nigeria.
They do the same thing in Nigeria. Exactly. So again,
why are you talking British English when this is?
Yeah, it actually it pisses me off when they. It does piss me off. Man.
So you've got all of that, which now takes me to the next book, right? All of this, and Nduku was mentioning earlier about the role of culture in how we free ourselves from this mind warp. Basically, that's what it is. It's Amilcar Cabral, yeah? In Return to the Source, yeah? Amilcar Cabral states that, and he gives an example. When they were fighting the Portuguese in order to extricate themselves from Portuguese colonial rule, Fidel Castro reached out to him and said, brother, let me provide you soldiers for you to fight. Amilcar Cabral said, in brilliant prose, he said, I appreciate what you're doing, but if my people do not fight for their own freedom, they will never value it.
Exactly.
I repeat, if my people do not fight for their own freedom, they will not value it.
Wow, this is where we are.
So again, if you know all of this that I'm giving you now, we don't need to consult ChatGPT. We're ceding our thought process again to the tools of European imperialism. And the final book, the final book is important for one reason and one reason only. It's a brilliant book, don't get me wrong. But it's important for two speeches at the end. In May 1963, May 25, 1963, Nkrumah got up on the stand of the Organization of African Unity. That was the inaugural meeting. And he said something. He said, brothers and sisters, we've all gotten independence, but we must ensure that independence is protected against the imperialists, for they have never left the room. They are still, they've not left the building. They are just outside our window. We can shutter the window, shutter the door, get on with it, and ensure that we do not allow them back in. The Nigerian head of state then, Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa, said, well, what Nkrumah was proposing, which is the United States of Africa, is further down the road. We should not allow, as he puts it, the radical nature of our excitement of being free to cloud our judgment and what have you. But I mean, a couple of people supported, they called the Casablanca group. They supported Nkrumah, right? But there was another group called the Morovia group, of which Nigeria and another country was there. But there was one key person. who said, and he's on record saying it, that is wishy-washy ideas, is crazy ideas, is blah 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 blah. Is, you know, you guys are chatting nonsense, you know, that kind of thing.
It's a utopia.
But funny enough, the redeeming quality of a human being is the ability to admit you were wrong. Julius Nyerere was that man.
Yeah.
Julius Nyerere came back in 1997 before the Ghanaian parliament. And in that speech, he said, I want to repeat for all of history to hear me that Kwame Nkrumah was right.
Yeah.
That if you do not protect your independence, you would lose it faster than you gained it. So again, where do we go from here? You can find it in all of that book. If you do not protect what you have, culture is the way you free yourself.
And you forgot Sheikh Diop Adesoji, who actually gives us 15 steps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah. That's actually that's Black Africa. The economic. What's it called?
Yeah. Listen, that's impressive that you remember the whole title.
Yeah.
Look at Sheikh Diop, Black Africa.
It's Black Africa, the economic basis for Africa's regeneration. So basically, it gave us a 14-step, and the book.
Africa's Republic or
no, federated case.
Federated.
So it's Black Africa by Cheke Diop. So why is all of this important? It's not that. In fact, that's a book, Black Africa, what's it called? Black Africa, a federated case, is a copy. Yeah, is a French version of Africa Unites. Why is that important? The European Union, if you look at the European Union, the model of what the European Commission on Human Rights, the justice, the bank, the everything is a riff of Kwame Nkrumah's Africa Unites.
Yeah, the economic
model. The economic model
is just a comic political model of Africa Unites. So,
and that's why, and just to hit that on the head, that's probably why they also did not want the echo, right?
Thank you. There you go.
Because if the echo went live, that would have been the end of that stranglehold on, first and foremost, the CIFA, or on the Francophone countries. Then obviously once the Francophone countries become successful, it then goes across Africa, and that's a risk to them.
That's it.
It's a risk. So these are go on.
So you bring all of that together. And we've seen practical ideas being muted almost every other 5 years. Who can remember when Ethiopian Airlines wanted to European Airlines wanted to expand, and they reached out to African countries for them to invest in an African airline? Everybody just sort of said, you know what? I don't want to be part of it. That could have been the opening of all the African continent. But again, because we're constantly looking to the so-called European powers, we can't even see the wealth is right underneath, is right in our lap, So
and leverage.
So a question, I hope that answers the question, where do we go from here? We already have.
I got one here. So somebody said, so what will unite us? Please be specific.
So what would unite us is, first of all, there's been clusters of people. You don't have, people use the word unite, you don't have to become one. What you do, what they're talking about with, and I get this question when the idea of Pan-Africanism is mentioned.
Yes.
People keep missing the idea of Pan-Africanism for unity. Unity, what they saw was you basically aligning yourself with the interest of somebody who looks like you next to you. When their interest comes up, you can do your own stuff.
It doesn't mean you're being asked to be a monolith, because that's usually the response. We're not a monolith. No.
And that's the difficulty. That's the difficulty the Africans have.
Yeah, you're not asked to lose yourself.
Yes.
What they're saying is, in the event of you see someone being strident to someone that looks like you, align yourself, and not just on the African continent. The Caribbean is an extension of you.
Yes.
African Americans are an extension of you.
Yes.
Align yourself with their interests.
Yeah.
That's the word. This idea of unite. I think we're missing the key idea. The key idea which your Eric Williams, your Blyden, your W.B. Du Bois, Malcolm X, Fannie Lou Hamer, Kwame Ture. I mean,
if I may,
go on.
If I may add to what you're saying, right? Now we have this. We take Nigeria. We have this issue of Yorubas, Igbos, Hausas. It comes up constantly.
Yeah.
But guess what? All that needs to happen is to say, guys, I'm Igbo. I choose to be part of Nigeria. But you know what? I'm going to make sure that I expend all my money, my wealth, create wealth in where I'm from.
Yes.
That would expand across the 6 geopolitical zones. Yeah. Likewise, Yoruba. Yeah. Likewise, the Hausa. Do you understand? That's all that. Not like, I'm an Igbo man. I want to take over the whole of Nigeria. Or I'm a Hausa man.
No.
I want to no. Look, it's the same thing in the UK here. There's an issue we have in the UK with gang violence, right? There's this thing that they call postcode wars, right?
Yeah.
So the other day, I think it was sometime last year, I did a post on LinkedIn to say, look, do you know that at the end of the day, whether you're Jamaican, whether you're Nigerian, whether you're Trinidadian, at the end of the day, you are African. And the day these kids realize that they are all African, do you know that gun violence stops?
Yeah.
Because the fight on the street is that, look at that Nigerian, that African boy. That's how the Jamaicans look at Africans, and that's sometimes creates friction. But if you know that you are an African,
I couldn't
that's my brother.
Yes,
that's my
you know what? Years ago, I tried to date a Jamaican lady with my thick Nigerian accent, and she didn't want to talk to me.
I don't think it was your accent that did it. It was your moves.
Even on LinkedIn, I met some young bank executives, one based here, one based in the US, and we just got chatting, and I said, broach the same thing. At the end of the day, we're all African. Do you know that in a LinkedIn conversation, she actually rejects being referred to as African? No, I'm American. I'm Black American. I'm not African. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So if we're going to start solving this problem,
she wanted to do business with you.
Yes, she wanted to do business.
She was okay with doing business with you, but not aligning with you in that way.
Yes, that's the truth. That is the truth.
I will even add this too.
Okay, guys, let's conclude. There's 2 hours now. Let's finish.
Quick one. Yeah. Just quick one. It's just an anecdote anyway. So, speaking to what Brother Babajide was saying, the alignment of thoughts now is, if you look to Nigeria now, just go on Instagram. You have people of whatever shade or whatever, demographics, posting #DirtyDecember. They're all in Lagos.
Yeah.
So if you can go there, imagine what that kind of vehicle could do.
I'm so happy you mentioned that. We can unite for wretchedness. We unite without even questioning for wretchedness.
I mean, I'm saying it could be. Listen,
but you're right.
If you capture, you can capture minds through so many things. Yeah.
So there's no way we are capturing them for revolution during Dirty December because they're busy twerking and drinking. But you make a good point.
No, but if you don't capture them, you could capture people who might see, okay, fine, I'll do a bit of that. And I mean, you're not going to capture everyone.
Exactly, which
but
is
I'll
what
do a
we are
bit of
planning
this,
to do.
yeah, and you just plant a seed. That's it.
I invite you to join us. This is what we're planning to do in 2026. This is actually, we had this live on TikTok. For those of you who follow us, go to our TikTok and see our past lives. We had this conversation. How do we address Dirty December in a productive way instead of complaining about them? How do we use that towards what we are doing? So yes, we address this. But if you go to them right now as they celebrate, what's his name I saw who arrived? Busta Rhymes arriving there as they celebrate. God knows who else came in, as they decide to wear the short miniskirt so that their boom boom can be seen nicely, as they decide which weave they're going to wear and how their nails are being done. They're not going to listen about revolution. They're busy dating December. But you're right. And this is, for me, I take the other direction of what Adesoji is saying. I'm actually shaming you if you're quick to go to Nigeria, if you're quick to come to Nigerians. And I hope your sister, who did not want to call herself African, is not in Dirty December having a good time. If you're quick to go to Nigeria and enjoy Dirty December, shame on you if you're not quick to go there for revolution. I'm sorry. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
We have a long way to go. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know? The decolonization.
In conclusion.
Yeah.
In conclusion, guys, like Babaji is about to say that.
Yeah.
Go
So in conclusion, like we alluded to, I think I would like to just rest on what Adesoji has said, you know, in the books that we need to read. You know, it will form a basis of enlightenment. It's going to be difficult. It's a long road, because as I'm sure, as I'm talking, as we're here, the president still hasn't come out and said anything.
Yeah.
As I'm here. So that in itself says a lot for the nation. It says a lot for the people, because who do we look up to? We look up to the president. We look up to the people around him. Yeah. And nothing is happening. Not even the new chief of defense may don't think he's come up and said anything either. You know, so look, today for me is a milestone in mediocrity for Nigeria. Do you understand what I'm saying? We've stooped to a new dimensional low.
Wow.
Because I mean, how else do we move forward from next week? How do we move forward?
Yeah, we're basically completely compromised.
We're completely compromised, and we don't know. I mean, like I said, I have people in me, and we're lost.
Yeah.
We're lost. We don't know what to discuss. When I was growing up, when I was a child, we looked up to. I mean, look, I'm not trying to again glorify the military era. Nobody watching this, everybody watching this should not get me wrong, but even Babangida told the story of how General Gowon, as a young military officer, inspired him to become a military officer. I am telling you right now that General Gowon did not just inspire. Now, General Gowon inspired Babangida when he was a young military officer. He wasn't the head of state then. But I can tell you right now that majority of the people that came back from the West after Awolowo had sent them to the US and the UK to study, they were inspired to come back home by who? General Yakubu Gowon. That guy stood for something. He was invited to banquets by the Queen. We see all the pictures. I was maybe 6-7 years old then. He gave our fathers hope. What hope are we getting?
My brother, but once the Queen invites you, man, that tells you that you compromise. I'm sorry.
No, but no, that's fine. No. Yeah. The Queen invites you, you're compromised. But you know what I'm trying to tell you is that he still held the where I'm going with Gowon really is that he still held the sovereignty of Nigeria together. Yeah. He categorically told the colonialists to keep their hands off Nigeria. I have the document. In a document he titled Nigeria Looks Ahead after the Civil War.
War, yeah.
There's a line in there where he said the colonialists should leave us alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? He stood up to them,
Yeah.
and the guys that came after him did the same. So looking at where we are now, what are we doing? Nothing. So
Okay.
there's so
Okay,
much
guys.
to say.
Thank
So
you.
much to say.
Yeah, thank you all guys for coming here. Nduku, Soji, Babajide. All you Nigerians, you Africans who are watching, this is not just about Nigeria. It's about
This is
the
not an
whole
attack on
of the.
Nigeria.
It's about the whole continent.
Yeah.
Because we're all in the same boat. We're all going through the same thing. We all got our minds messed up. That we're thinking like coconuts instead of being Afrocentric. So, like we keep saying, the solutions is within us. It's not out of us. It's within us. We are our own solutions. Us Africans. The Muzungu, the Oyinbo will never do it for you because they never intend to do it. They never had no intention of doing anything good for you. Just take that. Think about it. Until you see yourself as a solution, that Africa is not going to change.
Yeah. And I think.
Thank you, guys. We might be back tomorrow. I'm looking to bring somebody in tomorrow. So if I'll let you guys know, but I'm looking to bring somebody, an investigative journalist on to talk about this. But either way, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you all for recommending the books. Thank you all for recommending the books. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nduku. Thanks, Oladele. Nice meeting you, Soji.
Same here.
Why you all call him Soji? He's Adesoji.
Adesoji. You gotta call.
What happened to our brother?
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Oh wait, hold on. I think